Happy Easter. I don't know what you feel about Easter, but at Easter time we celebrate that Jesus is risen, that he is alive. When the disciples went to go discover the empty tomb on the first Easter Sunday, they were confused and amazed. What had happened? Where had Jesus gone? And then Jesus appeared to them. He came and found the women in the garden. He found Mary Magdalene and came to her and said, Mary. She saw who he was. She recognized his voice and knew that her Lord was there in front of her, that Jesus is risen. And then she goes and tells the good news. And you think, well, isn't that what we're all trying to do? We want to go and tell the good news of Easter, tell the good news that Jesus is risen. But how do we do it? How do we share the gospel? Well, as we look at what Mary does, what does she simply do? She goes and says, I have seen the Lord. He is risen. And that's all we do. We don't need to come up with grand arguments or deep theological explanations, as great as they are and as helpful as they can be at times. But what it starts at, how we share the good news, how we share the gospel, it starts by sharing the story, the thing that is new. The new thing is that Jesus is risen, that death has no power on him. The grave couldn't hold him. He overcame death. He overcame the power of sin and shame. Jesus is risen. He is alive. And now death may no longer have a hold on our lives. Jesus is alive and we are alive through him. And that's it. We just simply go and tell others that Jesus is alive, and let us be equipped and moved in knowing that this is the greatest goodness, the greatest joy, the greatest good news that could ever be. This is the heart of the gospel. Jesus is alive, and that's what we share at Easter.